Alright, so I'll try to keep these impressions short and sweet. First off, to the abandoned sacred beast. Now, in this anime, it's about this nation called Patria. It's, they're like fighting over like economical disputes, and they have like, I guess like an American like Civil War type thing where North and South is fighting each other, and one like the north side is like the Union, the southern side is like the Confederation, and while they're having like this Civil War, one of the sides has these like monster or mutation like soldiers who have like ridiculous like abilities that turn the tide of the war. But that's like the backstory. But the bigger part of it is that like the war ends, and it's no longer about the war. That's just like I said, it's just the backstory. But the main character, who is the commander of this like elite unit of, I don't know what to call them, I guess mutants, I guess, but he ends up having to hunt down his former comrades because the mutations that they have cause them to like go berserk, and they end up like either like killing people around them, or just doing all types of stuff that regular people don't like. So he ends up having to like kill his own former comrades. So I found it very interesting. I'm interested in whether or not the main character is going to actually hunt down all his former comrades, or is he going to find like a cure to save them? And I'm also interested in his love interest. Is she like gonna be around, or is she gonna even be in the anime? I'm just interested. That's what caught my interest. That's what makes me like want to watch more episodes. Anyhow, we now have Astra, Lost in Space. Now, this anime is like in the future. The year is 2061 to be exact. So they already have like space travel and whatnot going on, and it's about these high school students who are going to a planet. I guess I don't know if they're if it's like a school trip or something, but they go to this planet, right? And as you probably know, like something goes wrong, like as soon as they reach like the campsite to this planet, right? So what ends up happening is they come across this sphere just floating, and they don't know what it is. But you know how it is in anime. There's always one person that has to go and like step closer and do something really stupid. Like, yeah, it's like that in this anime. Someone's gonna do something stupid and like touch the sphere. So that's what happens. Someone touches the sphere, and he ends up getting sucked in, and then everyone else is like, "Oh no, we gotta escape!" So they're like all running away, but the ball is like, I'm assuming it's sentient or something, because it chased them, and it catches all of them, and they're basically sent into space. So they would have died like immediately, but one of the leader, or the character who kind of made himself like the leader, he told them to like put their helmets on, like, and I guess that saved them when they got sent to space. They had their helmets on. So but yeah, they're in space, and the only thing out there is a spaceship. So after getting to the spaceship, which was a challenge in itself, once they were all able to get on the spaceship, because they really had like lack of thrusters on their suits. But once they actually got on the ship, they had another issue, which was the fact that whatever that sphere did to them, it sent them like many light years away. So they're trying to figure out how are we going to get back home. So, after discussing it and looking at the personalities of the other students, you kind of understand that they all have their own like issues, and that they're basically like they're gonna probably bump heads in the future and stuff like that. And I guess some of the characters may have stronger personalities and whatnot, but anyhow, they find a way to plot a course home. So that's the good news. The bad news is they don't have food and supplies to last the trip. So they end up being able to plot a course that sends them to a planet where they can resupply and still be able to make it back home. So every time they hit a planet, they have to resupply, and I guess it's the only planet they can resupply on the way back home. So that's basically how this anime goes. That's the whole backstory on what happened. Now, for me, I'm on the fence on this anime because this anime in particular, I don't know, like I feel like I've seen something similar a lot. For those who like watch like Stargate and stuff like that, you probably know what I'm talking about, because I remember watching I've seen like Stargate episodes that's like this, and I remember seeing a Stargate like show. I think it got canceled, but I remember a show just like this where they're trying to get back home, and they're stopping at planets to resupply, and they're bumping heads, but they're trying to kill each other too. Even though this anime is not that extreme, but yeah, it was. That's why I'm on the fence, because I feel like I've seen this. But to this anime's defense, I will say this: there isn't many anime like this. At least none I can think of where something similar happened. It's not like a Sengoku or Three Kingdoms, or a Chinese anime with cultivation or something like that. Like, it's not that. So that's good. That's something new. So I suggest people watch it, or do like I do. Watch 3 episodes. Watch the first 3 episodes, and then like decide whether or not you like it or not. Because it's definitely an interesting anime, and from what I'm seeing from other people's comments, they found it interesting too. So you should definitely give it a look. But at the moment, I'm on the fence. So you guys can tell me what you think about it. All right, now to the next one. Okay, so now we have Dr.Stone. And this one has been picking up steam as far as people I've seen like looking out for this one, and people who I've seen watched it, and they seem to like it. From my understanding, this is based off a manga, but I didn't read the manga, so this is all fresh for me. So there's not much for me to say except the backstory, but it seemed for me it was a typical like school day, and those high school anime, like it was like a typical school day until there was like these particles like in the air, and like all of a sudden everything flashed, and they're all like the whole, I guess, all the civilization turned into stone, and I guess thousands of years I don't know the exact amount of time that passed, but it had to be over 2,000 years that passed. And the main character, Taiju, he finally like awakens or breaks out of the his stone, like his stone shell, because they're all stone. But he breaks out, and he sees that like everything is like gone, all the civilization is gone. But the bad part for him was this happened in the middle of him trying to tell his crush that he wanted to go out with her or whatever. So obviously the first thing he's gonna do is look for her, which is weird because she's not where she was, which was literally right next to him. So he's like traveling and she's like farther away. So he finds her and she's still in stone, but he sees like a message left for him specifically, and he follows that message, and then he sees that one of his friends from high school had awakened first. And from my understanding, he was the first one to awaken, to break out of the stone. And he says he got out like 6 months ago. So 6 months before the MC. So he's explaining to him like what he's been up to all this time, how he's trying to figure out how to bring civilization back to get people out of the stone. And in the beginning of the anime, you'll notice that, or in flashbacks at least, you'll notice that the birds were turning into stone first before people. When people turned to stone, it was like everybody, but it seemed like animals were fine. Like, and it seemed like all the animals turned to stone, but for some reason, birds turned to stone first. But anyhow, so throughout this anime, they're trying to figure out how to bring people back, and by the time you end the first episode, they will. And I don't look at this as a spoiler because it's obviously not about them being in stone more than it is them bringing civilization back. But yeah, they figure it out using alcohol and some other things that and the guy who that his friend that he's working with, he's like a genius scientist, so he already knew what he needed to like whip up together to figure this out, and he was just trying different types of mixtures that weren't working. But by the time you get to the end of the anime, he finally like gets it to work on a bird. So at that point you realize, okay, now he can start like saving all the people. So that's how that ends. So I don't know anything beyond that, but that in itself is interesting. But I'm curious how they can keep the whole anime exciting, because it's a 24 episode anime. So how they can keep it exciting for 24 episodes and rebuilding civilization is beyond me. But it is new. It is something that you don't see all the time. It is original to me, so it's definitely worth checking out. And like I said earlier, it's really picking up steam. People's really like interested in it, so you should again check it out and let me know if you like it. Now that's about it for this first episode of the summer anime first impressions. I will be releasing a second episode soon with even more and some more popular anime, because there seems to be some anime that's really popular this season. So I want to hit you guys up with those. Hit the like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.